Hi, everybody. It's Kathy, dietitian at Highland Primary Care, back here with part 2 of weight management myths and truths. And this is one of our more popular classes, but I broke it into smaller pieces. So hopefully it's a bit more manageable and can fit into your busy schedule. So what we'll talk about today is just a few behaviors or missteps that we commonly see at PCN that we see people do that's pretty common. And then we'll talk about things that are working well and strategies you can try and things you can do. Because I always like to leave people with some things to try and things that they can do and feel good about. So common things we see at the PCN, see people doing is skipping breakfast or skipping meals. Quite often when I'll do a recall, there's not enough water, they're low in fruits and vegetables and low in fiber. So we always like to focus on positive changes at PCN. So, if you have a habit you want to change, say you drink a lot of coffee, you drink 6 cups of coffee a day. Instead of telling yourself, I don't want to drink coffee, I don't want to drink coffee, we might try to find a replacement behavior. So maybe we'll talk with you and discuss maybe water might be something you want to increase. So instead of a coffee, instead of focusing on not having the coffee, we focus on having more water. And sometimes some of the bad habits will slide off. But if we're constantly thinking, I shouldn't have coffee, I shouldn't have coffee, I shouldn't have coffee, all day we've thought about coffee. So we want to just try to focus on the behaviors we want to engage, and then hopefully some of the behaviors we want to have less of will slide off as we move along. So yeah, things that work better for people is making sure that we're actually fueling and hydrating our body. I would say this is the most common thing I see at PCN, is that people just don't fuel the early day well, and it ends up, so a really common thing would be, oh, I have a yogurt parfait for breakfast. So a little bit of yogurt with a little bit of cereal sprinkled on top and some fruit. And then they'll say, and I do really good for lunch. I have a salad. There may or may not be some protein on that salad, but they say, and then I fall off. I come home and I'm snacking while I make dinner, and then I make dinner and I'm snacking all night long. So if this sounds familiar, then you are not alone, because that's what people do. But yeah, we're really undernourishing our early day when we're quite busy and active. And then so I liken that a little bit to like a furnace. We want to think of our body like a furnace. So we want to get it fired up. If a fire is burning really hot, you can burn through more logs. But what we typically do in the Western world is we throw a little bit of fuel on the fire and just have a pilot light burning, barely nothing. And then at lunch, the same thing, a few more sticks and twigs, but the pilot light never got any bigger, the flames never any bigger. And then we have our snack while we're making dinner, so we're throwing, and then dinner, which is some big logs on the fire, and then snacking all night long, and it's still just that little pilot light that's burning. So we want to get the fire burning hot, and then we can, that's my analogy for metabolism. If the metabolism is working well, we burn more calories just sitting. So we want to fuel ourselves. So that's putting our metabolism first. It would be so nice if we had a little metabolism machine we could just plug into and get a number out. I think it would tell us so much more than the scale, than the scale machine. But yeah, if we put our metabolism first, I think we would treat our bodies a lot better. So the idea there, things that help people typically are trying to eat within 2 hours of waking. And always remember, with any advice I give, they're just guidelines, and there's always exceptions to the rules and workarounds and things that we can do when we work individually. But because I'm giving a presentation to everybody at the same time, I think after 2 hours, the body starts us into hibernation kind of modes, and it starts to use calories more efficiently, which sounds like a good thing, but it's hibernation mode. It doesn't want to give you up as much energy as you'd like to have, and it wants to hang on. So it'll use things more, I'm calling it efficiently, but like hibernation mode. So try to eat within 2 hours of waking. Try not to go more than 4 to 6 hours at any given time of the day without eating. Because if we start to do these things, it's really hard to normalize our eating. That's eating when we're hungry and stopping when we're full. If we don't eat regular meals at regular times, it's really, really hard to kind of tune in to our own cues of hunger and fullness, because the body just doesn't cue properly. And especially if we skip breakfast. Like some people will say, well, if I don't eat breakfast, I don't feel hungry all day. That is not a good thing, right? Basically, when a body's under stress, it won't give hunger cues. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense in our primitive brain, which is what we use when we're under stress. If you were actually trying to fight or run away from something, the body wouldn't say, oh wait, I'm hungry. So they just shut down those cues. So not having cues of hunger or fullness is not really the ideal situation. We want to try to fuel the body, and we want to fuel it in such a way that, you know, we have less cravings at the end of the day, that we're feeling full and satisfied, that we don't feel like we need to eat such big portions at supper and feel overfull, or that we're coming to the table so hungry that we're eating our food so fast and then feeling overfull. Yeah, so lots of ideas for fueling and hydrating. So just make sure you're hydrating with your water, keep it handy. And you know, I think people are doing better with water for the most part. I've seen lots of people making changes and trying to incorporate a little more water into their day. But there's lots of ideas for snacks and things. Try to keep something with you as a backup if things go, you know, off the rails or sideways a little bit. Some non-perishable things in the car, perhaps, just so you don't go to that over hungry feeling. So another thing that's working well is fiber. And if you don't know this, fiber is one of the most anti-inflammatory things in the diet. Fiber is just like a little scrub brush. It goes through us and it cleans us out as it goes. So it really is our friend. And you know, in the typical Canadian diet, we get about 14 grams of fiber a day, somewhere between 11 and 14. And we actually should be shooting for more like 25. So, you know, round about half of what we should be getting is typically what we are getting. And fiber is good for so many reasons. I really don't like the word detox because I think it's really misused and used improperly. But, and our liver and kidneys, as long as we're fueling our body well and giving it good nutrition, that's all the detox that we need. But fiber does help that that system out a little bit. It's probably, I would say, probably the best true detoxes to the body are just to sweat and drink lots of water and get fiber. And those are simple and you can do them every single day. So ways to get fiber is just to look for those whole grains to increase your fiber intake. And yeah, look on your ingredient list, that first word says whole grain, and look beyond what you normally have been eating. Because in Canada, we have a lot of wheat. There's lots of other grains out there like barley and oats and millet and quinoa and brown rice. So there's lots of things to try and experiment with and kind of just have a gentle curiosity about. Yeah, so lots of roles for fiber. Protects against heart disease and cancer, helps you feel full. It's satiating. So fiber has that satiating effect. Everybody always talks about regularity when I talk about fiber. So there's that piece too, but that's not all when it comes to fiber. It does control blood sugar levels and helps, like I said, clean out the body, so take down cholesterol as well. So lots of reasons to eat fiber. And probably one of the least known reasons is that fiber feeds the low gut, the microbiome. So there's 2-3 pounds of bacteria in your gut, and they're really responsible for a lot of things that happen in your health. So when we say health begins in the gut, we're really starting to learn that that's true. And yeah, if we're not eating any fiber, we're not feeding those beneficial bacteria in the low gut. So yeah, ways to boost fiber intake. So more fruits and veggies, you know, even one more serving of a fruit or a veggie a day makes a big difference. But little things you can do, if you already have cereal in the morning, you can sprinkle some bran or flaxseed, chia, hemp hearts, psyllium husk on that cereal. You can add barley or beans or peas or lentils to soups or stews or casseroles. Those are fantastic and filled with fiber. Fruits and veggies, we do have a new food guide, so we don't have so much servings of fruits and vegetables, but the research is still really strong that 8 servings of fruits and vegetables will probably provide us with the most prevention of chronic disease. So if you know right now that you're getting 2 or 3, then let's just start there. Let's just start, okay, I'm going to make 3 consistently every day. That's a really good practice to get into, and you don't worry about that number 8. And then slowly, we build up over time. Because unfortunately, only 40% of Canadians eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. So we're very low on fruits and vegetable intake, generally speaking. 40% getting 5 or more. And when we're saying 8 is probably best for good health. So if you're low in fruits and vegetable intake, the good news is you're not alone. And there's little simple things we can do. So just adding 1 more fruit or 1 more veggie will make a big difference. It will make you healthier, absolutely. So yeah, slice more ways to add fruits and veggies. Slice fruits or to cereal or onto yogurt. Add vegetables, greens, broccoli, cauliflower. I put anything that's sort of starting to go bad in my fridge in my smoothie. And with the berries and stuff, I don't notice it. So that can be a good way to add some more. Add a salad at lunch or supper. Try different greens, different dark green leafies is a good idea. And yeah, when you bring your veggies home from the store, chop them up right away and get them in a tray at eye level in the fridge. And then, if you need a quick, easy snack, they're nice and easy for you. Yeah, and grab and go fruits and veggies. So like, throw an apple or something like that in your car or in your purse so you can have something quick and easy. Oh, or those little fruit cups or unsweetened apple sauces. Those can be really good to have in the car or in your desk at work, that kind of thing, just in case. Now we'll move to drinks. So you're sweet enough. I always say choose water or milk. And be very careful when you're drinking like the specialty drinks, like if you're out at a coffee shop. If it's something you do once or twice a year, then I'm going to say just enjoy it and we don't care what's in it. But if it's an everyday, every other day, even a couple of times a week habit, then you might want to look to what you're actually getting, because some of those drinks can supply like 500 to 1,000 calories. And they won't fill you up. You won't feel satisfied from that. Like if I eat 1,000 calories of food, I would feel full. But if I drink it, I don't necessarily feel full or satisfied. So if that is an everyday habit, an often habit, a 2-day-a-week habit, you might want to ask some more questions and see what you're actually putting in your body. So tips for choosing healthy drinks. You guys probably know lots of these, but use fresh lemon or lime slices or other fresh fruit to flavor your water. You can freeze grapes and put them in your water bottles. I like the little infusers. I might slice some strawberries or cucumber or oranges and just throw them in the little infuser in the water bottle. Always have your water bottle with you. And it depends how you like your temperature of the water. Some people like it room temperature, so you could have a pitcher on the counter, or maybe you like it really cold, so keep one in the fridge, whatever you like. You can add a splash of fruit juice to your water. And if you do choose a sugar sweetened beverage like lemonade, iced tea, pop, that kind of thing, juice, just look for a smaller size, because sometimes it'll come in those really big containers. And currently the labeling law is that they label a proper serving size. So if it's 750 ml, they may only give you the information for a cup of juice. That is changing currently. The legislation is changed. And if it's a single serving, if it looks like a single serving, they have to put the information. So if it's 750 mils, they have to put the information for 750 mils. But currently that's not the case. So yeah, just try to choose a small size or put it into a smaller container, because we can really get a lot of excess without the satisfaction of feeling full from it. Okay, so what's working better thinking long term? So in part 1, we did talk a little bit about all or nothing thinking, and the antidote to that is thinking long term. So no quick fixes, no fads diet. Think small changes that you can live with for a lifetime. And I would say what's working better, self-acceptance. I think this might be the one thing we don't talk enough about in healthcare is just accepting ourselves where we're at. Because I do think as a culture, we like to hate ourselves into change. We just, we will talk about, oh my gosh, that class was so good. I almost felt like I was going to throw up. And I think that does not sound like a good advertisement for that class. And we kind of beat ourselves up too, right? We do hate ourselves into change sometimes. Those 30-day challenges that are really hard and grueling, and we can barely sit down and we're so uncomfortable. But really, I feel strongly noticing lots of people's paths of change that the best changes and the most long-lasting changes come when we kind of nurture ourselves into change and be kind to ourselves. And that starts with just being kind to ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves. So if you can kind of start to notice what's going on in your dialogue upstairs, and are you saying things that serve you, or maybe there's lots of things that are going on up there that aren't serving, and you can let them go. So I always like to encourage people to make a rule. Like if we wouldn't say it to our friend or our child or our mom, then not to say it to ourselves. So be really careful with that. If you kind of notice you're going down a bad path with your thinking, try to stop yourself. Maybe you have an affirmation or a quote or a mantra that helps you get out of that rut. I love the one, my body's amazing. And it doesn't even matter if you don't feel completely authentic when you say my body's amazing, because when you put a fact force to the brain will start to find facts to back it up, because that's what it does. And so, maybe you're not feeling like your body's particularly amazing on any given day, but if you say it to yourself, then the brain will say, well, your lungs do breathe you all day long. You don't have to think about that. That's pretty amazing. And here that heart just keeps on pumping all day long. And that's pretty amazing. There's so many things and even when you're not treating your body well, there's so many things your body is doing for you all the time. And that's pretty amazing. So it can go on and on and on like that. So I like to think of it as kind of an inside out approach. I know often people will say, when I lose the weight, then I'll do this. Then I'll, get the partner I want. Then I'll buy the jeans I want. Then I'll get a bathing suit and go to the pool. But I like to start with, I like me today. And how does that look? How do I make myself like the person I am right now today? And then when you like somebody, it's so much easier to take care of them. And I think when we like ourselves, it's so much easier to take care of ourselves. So consider that in your health journey. I've never seen somebody beat themselves up internally and have it be really motivating in the long term for them. Sometimes it'll do some short-term things, but it doesn't really last in the long term. And I think I said this already, but think about any challenges or setbacks you have as just opportunities to learn, right? Just a way it didn't work, and nothing more than that. It's not a failure. It's not, you can't do this. It's just, hey, there's one thing I learned today. Another thing that's working better for people is mindful eating. So what's mindful eating? Mindful eating is working with intention and attention. It's awareness of our body's cues of hunger and fullness. So we're going to select food for both the nourishment and enjoyment, but also thinking about our satisfaction and satiety that's coming from that food. And I would say a piece of mindful eating is also using that fuel to live vibrantly. So just our bodies are meant to move. That doesn't have to be 2 hours at the gym. It can be just any way that our bodies naturally move. And if it's something that brings a smile to your face and that you enjoy, all the better. Because if you're on a treadmill thinking, I'm doing this, but I hate this, you're probably not going to stick with it. So think about things that you enjoy doing. Maybe you shut the blinds and do some dancing. Maybe you're a golfer. You like to fish. You like to garden, yoga, whatever it is that just gets your body moving. Walking can be amazing. Hiking in this beautiful playground that we live in. So whatever it is that gets your body moving is what we want to get after. So I found mindful eating, and I've been teaching mindful eating for quite a few years now to people, and I've just noticed a whole change with their relationship to food and eating. So it can be really powerful, making people much, much happier with their relationship to food. And we do have a class in mindful eating. So, and that's also on the YouTube channel. So you're welcome to check that out. I do offer it virtually too. So if you're on our website, you can find their health improvement program and sign up for that as well. If you like mindful eating and you want to learn more, these are two fantastic books about mindful eating. And one is called Intuitive Eating, and it's by Elise Reich and Evelyn Triboli. It's fantastic. And the other one's called Eat What You Love, Love What You Eat. And it's by Michelle May, and she's a retired family physician. And I would say she's one of the gurus currently in mindful eating. And they're both quite easy to read. They both have some overlap in content, so you might not want to read both. Maybe check them out and see which one resonates more with you. Elise Reich and Evelyn Triboli are both dietitians, so just for some background there. So tuning into our own cues. So it does take some time to tune into our own cues, especially if we haven't been eating regularly and tuning into ourselves. One thing that can be helpful is just being mindful about our portions, because we can easily overdo it. So just being mindful about our plating process. And this is in no way about counting calories. It's just the recognition of the way our world's set up, that sometimes if we buy something in a store, it's way, way more than we were expecting. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that. Again, not about counting calories, but just what I like and what we'll talk about is just the plate method. So if I fill half my plate with, could be fruit, but mostly veggies, then whatever's on the other half, I'm not so worried about, and just how big of a difference that can make. And if you kind of keep that in that may be, and in the whole, there's lots of menu of options of things that you could choose to change your behaviors, but that's a really cool one. If you just think about, I'm going to put more fruits and veggies on my plate and kind of fill up with that and see how it balances things out for you. But just so, for example, here's 3 slices of pepperoni pizza. It's thin crust pizza, 720 calories. And if we just kind of went down to 1 and had a salad on the side, the salad has dressing, it makes a big difference, right? It cuts it down by 1/3. So, and yeah, when people come in or when we have a virtual visit, they're often surprised, maybe I think, about how many questions I ask. And I'm not just nosy, but the devil is sometimes in the details when it comes to nutrition. So a muffin is not a muffin is not a muffin. Is it a homemade muffin that you made at home? Is it a Tim Hortons style coffee shop donut? Or is it like a Costco sized piece of cake for a family of 4? It makes a huge difference, as you can see, in the amount of calories. Like we're going from 250 if we had a homemade muffin to 740 calories with the Costco size. I can't even call it a muffin. It's like a piece of cake, kind of. Yeah, so just easy, and it's easy. It would be easy for me to eat that Costco muffin, and I wouldn't feel particularly overfull with it. Like it doesn't feel filling or satisfying. So easy to do. Yeah, so the new Canada Food Guide looks like this, quite different, quite a departure from our previous food guides, and is really using that plate method that I spoke of. And some of the key messages on the back side are being mindful of our eating habits, cooking more often, enjoy your food. Isn't that interesting? And eat meals with others. And they may sound overly simplistic, but they do actually have a lot of research behind them. So it doesn't even matter what we're eating, but if we're eating with others, we're shown to be healthier, and likely so, which isn't rocket science, probably, that if we're cooking at home more often, we're making a lot better choices than if we're eating out. But what a great message to be more mindful of our habits and enjoying our food. What a great new concept, that we should actually be enjoying what we're eating. And the cool thing is that our body, if we're enjoying and we're engaging more of our senses, so mindful eating will tell us this, that our bodies will actually tune in more and we'll be able to say, okay, I'm satisfied. I don't think I need so much of that today. So yeah, consider the plate method, and I'll just talk about that really briefly one more time. We want to fill half our plate. So I'm going to start with 1/4 of a plate is your meat or your alternative. So if you're vegetarian, that would be your vegetarian alternative there. And then 1/4 of your plate is your grain product or your starch, so potato, rice, pasta. And then on the other half of the plate is your vegetable and maybe fruit if you wanted. I know this looks like hot dogs, but it's actually carrots and broccoli. And I think this is just water on the side, I'm going to guess. But it could be milk as well. So that's what a healthy plate looks like. And then we already talked about living vibrantly, but I'll just give a brief summary of physical activity. So find an activity you enjoy and stick with it. Fit your activities into your everyday. So if you can, you know, park a little farther away, if you are in an office and you have to walk to the printer or walk up and down the stairs, those things make a difference. So yeah, feel like get on incorporating those. Break it into smaller chunks. So we always talk about working up to 30 minutes a day, but that can be 3 10-minute blocks. And if you have not been active before and you take a 10-minute walk at lunch, that is awesome. And if you can keep that consistent, even if it's like every Monday, I'm taking a 10-minute walk after lunch, that will make you healthier. Consistency is really the key. And just start with one small thing. So yeah, some examples: taking the stairs, walk after eating, park farther away. You can lift soup cans in your pantry for a little bicep curl. Maybe you just work on reducing sedentary time, and our kinesiologist will talk about this a lot. Like if you take a look at how much time you actually spend sitting, and is there a way you can reduce it? And a little tip that we've heard that I think is really good, and since I've been working from home, I've been trying to think about it. They call it 60 and 5. So for every 60 minutes, you should move for 5 minutes, but I've been doing 60 and 1. So for every hour that I'm sitting, I try to do a minute of activity. So I go up and down my stairs, or I have a little gym that I can do a couple of things. And I feel better. I feel like I'm concentrating better and I'm not getting so sore in my chair. I can do a little bit of stretches during the day. And you know, like I am working 8 hours a day. So that's 8 minutes right there. And then if you do have more sedentary time, it adds up. So it makes a big difference. Yeah. So is there any small changes that you could live with for a lifetime? So you don't have to make all your changes right now. In fact, we'd encourage you not to. We encourage you to look at 1 or 2 small things that are accomplishable. And I really like a just noticeable difference. So if you know when you take your steak, it's always quite a large 10-ounce steak, 2 bites less. So if you're looking at your plate and you're thinking, whoa, it's more like half my plate is the meat and I just have a little bit of veggie there and quite a bit of starch, 2 bites less of the starch, 2 bites less of the meat, 2 bites more of veggies, just noticeable difference. You don't need to make huge changes. In fact, if you went from a 10-ounce steak to a 6-ounce steak, your brain would probably say, like, red alert, like what's happening here? I'm sensing deprivation. And then it starts to put things into place. So you hold on to calories. So think about just noticeable difference, 1 or 2 bites less. And it's a great way to make change over time. So tips to aid in your success. This is recapping the 2 videos all together. So get plenty of good quality sleep. If you're not sleeping well, I mean, sometimes people can do all the right things and they're not sleeping well, but sometimes it has to do with our habits. So we do have a class on sleep habits that you can catch on either on the YouTube video, or we are offering it virtually. Looking for healthy ways to cope with stress. We also have a class on stressing well that's on the YouTube channel or virtually offered. Be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself. I can't say that enough. And the next one, fuel and hydrate your body. So just the guideline there is trying to eat within 2 hours of waking, not going more than 4 to 6 hours at any given time of the day without eating. Drink water and milk. Eat when you're hungry, not starving, and stopping when you're full. Simple. The mindful eating message here is slow down, savor the meal, enjoy the experience. So really tuning into our food and trying to eat more fruits and veggies than other foods at meals. One of my favorite quotes is strive for progress, not perfection. So recall that small steps will work better than giant leaps. and find movement that you enjoy just doing for its own, that you just do because it makes you smile, brings a smile to your face. If you're enjoying doing it, you're going to stick with it. You're way more likely to stick with it. So, and a reminder that, you know, doctors and medical home team, the nurse and social worker. So if you doctor from Airdrie out to Didsbury, then your medical home, your doctor's office has a nurse and social worker attached. And they're available to answer any questions you might have, or if you kind of like what you're hearing in these videos, but kind of not sure how it works in your life, make an appointment with one of those folks and they can help you out. They can help you set SMART goals and do all kinds of things, help you reach your goals. So yeah, if you have questions, then phone up your medical home team in your doctor's office. And I thank you so much for listening to this short video on weight management myths and truths. I hope it's helpful. Yeah, and check out our other videos on our YouTube channel, or check out our health improvement program on our webpage, which is www.hpcn.ca. Take good care. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.